Hey, hey, hey. Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday for the Musicals here, and we're back with some content. What? In this quarantine time? I know, like, when we started this channel, it was mainly to do, like, reviews, I think. I mean, in the short time, it's only been, like, a year since we had the channel. It's kind of, like, evolved a little bit. But, yeah, mainly was to, like, do reviews of, like, shows, and then I guess to show out like different like merchandise and things like that, which is so funny because like that's kind of the point of this video. We have a review, right, with no Broadway, with no theater open. Yes, we watched, what did we watch today? Repeat Attenders. Yes, Repeat Attenders. It's a documentary, a new documentary that came out right around the time quarantine started, I believe. Yeah, so we learned about it through the Broadway Broads of the Bay, which, if you don't know who they are, is Jen and Sarah, who are theater fans that live obviously in the Bay Area of the country, and they hella love musicals, and like we hella love them for it, and they just have like an awesome channel. They also are the ones who like introduced us to like Six, so like mucho thanks for that. I think they were going to be hosting like not a grand opening. They're going to be like a premiering,
the something party.
Yeah, they were supposed to be
there. You know.
Yeah. There, but then quarantine happened, and so like the movie didn't get its like red carpet the way I guess was like originally like planned. But so we watched it twice. We watched it a couple of weeks ago, maybe about three or so weeks ago, on Vimeo, which we thought that was the only place you could watch the movie, like, you know, like rent it, which I guess is true if you don't have an Amazon Prime
or Broadway HD
Broadway HD account, because that's where it's on, like Broadway HD. We get our Broadway HD through Prime, so the Prime videos and stuff like that. So that's how we watched it again, so we can give you guys this review
of the documentary,
Repeat Attenders. So, first thing about Repeat Attenders is it follows about four different people. I would say it's heavy on one person in particular, a woman named Gudrun, from Germany. And then there are Patty and Emily. They're like Broadway like super fans. I think they have like a is it like a podcast, I think. And then I know that Joy and I watched them. We watched their flea market videos. That's how we like know about them. So they're the Broadway side. Oh, they spoke to this man who's seen Ren almost 1,200 times. On Broadway, and then there was
a lady who really likes cats.
A woman who really likes cats. She's from California, San Diego.
Yeah.
And then
I cannot remember their names.
Her name is Christine.
Christine, yeah. The guy's name I can't remember.
Yeah, and I you know, for whatever reason didn't write it down. And then there is a woman in England who's seen Les Mis in the, wait, I wrote it down. Les Mis in the 977 times. So, oh, and her name, I didn't write it down. Oh, gee, I'm so sorry. What's the T? Oh, sorry.
That's his mother.
So, right. Wait, what did we just
You just said the lady you saw it. Lady 177.
Yeah, so the documentary follows these people who have like kind of like made it, like, I don't want to say life's journey, but a good portion of their life is spent re-seeing shows that like resonate with them for like whatever reason. So with the case of this woman in Germany, Gudrun, she's really into Starlight Express. And she was introduced to this musical when she was about 17 years old. And her story was actually quite, I don't want to say sad, but she comes from this like
What? Sorry.
No,
so you about to say something.
It's very her story is very emotional.
Oh, maybe that's the word for it. So she's very, I don't want to say she's comfortable. I mean, she is kind of comfortable with herself, but as you watch the documentary, you can see that like her love for like the theater, for like Starlight Express in particular, has not always like warranted like the best like attention, like from her like parents and things like that, and it just you can kind of infiltrates how she interacts with like her own daughter and her family and other Starlight Express fans. So she saw it when she was like 17, and since then she's been like hooked, and since then she says she's seen it, I wrote it down,
40?
about, yeah, like 41 times over like the last 20 years. So she said it's not a lot, I guess, when you think about it in a span of 40 years. Maybe she's seen it like, I'm not good at math, 20 years, 40 times, 20 years. That's like twice a year for like 20 years. Maybe, is that how math works?
Twice a year for 20 years?
No? 41 times.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
About averaging about 2 times a year.
Yeah.
So, her dream originally was to be a performer. Like, she would have liked to be a member of Starlight Express at some point. And, her family, I don't even think it had anything to do with Starlight Express in particular, just like their issue with her. They were like not very kind about like her body and her talents and things like that, and then in a way you're kind of like, is this lady like, maybe like she's not that good, and maybe her parents were like trying to protect her, you know, by like trying to like keep her expectations like, you know, like in line. But it turns out that she was accepted to like musical theater school, and her parents just for whatever reason didn't want her to pursue it. Like they just were hell bent on like not seeing her through her dreams.
And it also kind of makes you wonder, like, given the age when she saw, you know, Starlight Express, and then you can kind of guesstimate her parents' age, and then you got to think about the time in which they grew up. People didn't really care about children's happiness. It's more so in line of keeping them alive, you know. You know what I mean? And it's just like there's a lot going on, especially like in Germany, like back then. Like,
I guess so, yes.
You know, I don't think they felt it just wasn't warranted, but I also felt like they intentionally were trying to kill her spirit.
No, I also don't think they were just really nice. Cause like,
they really did try to kill her spirit.
Yeah. At one point in the film, she goes to talk on about how like she's only missed a couple of times that Starlight Express, you know, had come to like her area, like Germany. Was it Open Day? I think they call it, like Open Day. Yeah, only a couple of times she's missed it. One was when her good friend, who was also a big Starlight Express fan, died, and she's like she needed a break.
Yeah.
The second time was when her daughter was born. Obviously, she couldn't go because she was in the hospital, right? So she can't go. And then the third time she couldn't go was because her parents died. And she laughed. She like smiled. Not laughed, right? Smiled.
And she said that one, and it was kind of like interesting.
And you know, and you can see how it was kind of like freeing. The nice part I think about Gudrun's story is she has a daughter who is also a fan of Starlight Express, and I guess you could be like, oh well, obviously because her mother's like fanatical.
But it seems like,
organic. Yeah, it does seem very organic. Her daughter is also in school for like musical theater at the moment.
6 years later,
yeah,
you know, they came back.
I think the show went from like 2011 to like 2017. I think that's what the documentary spans in that time. So that was nice. There was also a story that she told that like really had me like misty like the first time. So Gudrun makes costumes she like cosplays. Is that what? Yeah, cosplays as like Pearl and other characters in Starlight Express. I don't really know much about Starlight Express, so I can't get into it. And like, so there's like Rusty, and that's all I picked up from like the documentary. But I mean, it looks kind of cool. I'm not honestly. I would see it.
It works very well in the theater that they have in Germany,
right?
Because it's very much a stadium. Yes. You can do a lot. Now, when it hit Broadway, I'm just like, they were doing all of that?
I know. It's hard to imagine, right, under the theaters here. But
Which makes you wonder also why maybe it didn't really
take off
here, because maybe it needed a different space. You know how different areas have the markets help, certain shows, But
it seems like a big deal over there in Germany.
Yeah.
But so she cosplays, and she said one day she was dressed as Pearl, and this woman came up to her, and she says, and has this daughter, the woman's daughter is blind and was like in a wheelchair, and she says, like the Pearl is like over there, but like my daughter can't get to her because I guess the Pearl was on like a platform and she's in like a wheelchair, so like it wasn't accessible for her daughter to like take a picture. And she asked
accessibility, man.
I know.
Really, yeah. We could go into like data and accessibility too if you wanted to. That should be another documentary.
It should. It really should. What was that? Oh, so basically the woman asked Gudrun if she could come to the daughter, let her feel, her costume so she can get an idea of like what Pearl looks like, and like maybe, like sing for her. And she said she was like, I'm not the real Pearl. And the mother's like, yeah, like it's okay. And so like the little girl, did her thing, and she sang a song for her, and the little girl like, accepted, like this was Pearl and stuff like that. And she said it was at like that moment where like she kind of like really like embraced like her cosplaying, and she really like, it really like kind of like empowered her. And I was just like,
yeah. She also said like she would put on a costume and kids would be like, can I have your autograph? Pearl.
A photo.
And she would be like, I'm not the real Pearl. Like, I'm not the real Pearl. And they were like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're beautiful. And I'm just like, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That people, they just see you being happy and it makes them happy.
Right.
So I kind of.
And then also with Gudrun, she does like birthday parties and stuff like that. Like, she's like, oh, there's like a 14-year-old having like a Starlight Express. Like, see, that's how big it is over there. Like, wow, 14-year-olds have Starlight Express birthday parties. Could
ooh, our next party. What? We should have a waitress party.
That'd be so fun.
It would. Come in your waitress outfits.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, but yeah.
But so if you ask, obviously, like the actors to come, to this like birthday party, they're like most likely not gonna come, right? Unless like I guess probably you're somebody, or you have like the money, or it's like worth their time.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, but if you call her, she'll come. And then they had like footage of her like birthday parties, and everyone's having like good time, and it's like, wow. So,
yeah, and it's so interesting because in the grand scheme of 20 years, 41 times isn't that much, but this show really meant
a lot
so much to her. It also plays a role in like age and like seeing certain stuff at certain ages really kind of sinks into you too.
Yeah. The story, like I would say, the documentary was kind of like slanted towards like her story. I mean, they showed other people, which we'll get into. Like, I don't know who you want to talk about next.
Let's talk about Christina, I guess.
Christine.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So Christine was a cat super fan. She calls herself a sports level like Cats fan, which is like, I get that, because basically Christine also kind of seemed like she had a little bit of low self-esteem a bit.
I don't know if it was low self-esteem so much as she was just like introverted.
I don't know. She said something about, and I forgot what she said, but she was like, I need a minute. It really upset, like something. People, because Christine has this huge collection of
She
cats,
has the biggest
collection of like
cats
memorabilia, and it's just like, it's so cool, and it's just like, I wonder if she had the space to fully display it like a museum. It'd be crazy. But she kind of keeps a lot of it in boxes, obviously. But it's just like she says she spends like with over $20,000 on like this stuff, and I feel like
she said she spent over like $15,000 on like memorabilia, like in her like cat superfan life, and then like over 20,000 when you add up like seeing the shows, which she's seen 105 times.
Yeah, and also it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. I mean, she has a lot of stuff, and apparently, because she has so much
love
for the stuff that people kind of were mean to her on the internet about it, and it's just kind of like,
who are these people, right?
Haters. Like, you can also buy this stuff. I mean, it's not like she took it all. You know, like, obviously, if she has the money, she can buy it. I mean, I don't know. It's just people find it. I think people get a little uncomfortable when you really. But like, how is this any different than like a Star Wars fan with all their stuff, or or like someone who really likes like
football and going to
and
I
like
almost
has a
called
whole,
it the playoffs,
like
the
Giants and stuff, like Patriots, like or Eagles, it's just kind of like what makes
people that collect stamps.
They're the fans so different from like sports fans, and I don't get that. I mean, people could get yearly passes to sports games. And everyone's like, wow, that's so awesome. They purchase yearly, they have a membership or whatever. And it's just like, a theater fan just wants to go and relive their show however many times they feel it, seeing different people.
Oh, someone had actually said, I'm trying to think, was she part of, she was, I should have wrote down who, this lady was something for merchandise. It said, I think it said merchandise. She had said like, we're not selling like a show or like a ticket, like we're selling an experience.
Which is, I get that completely. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like there's just a disconnect. I mean, at least I don't know. I don't want to like dog on like sports fans, but at least depending on the sport, I get like air conditioning and heat. Whateve, but
right.
Yeah, so Christine, she had a really nice collection of cat stuff. She has costumes and wigs and like all this other stuff. She did some stuff from Japan. And I'm like, whew, Japan did their stuff nice. And she had like figurines, and she takes pictures, in her costume. And she just basically lives her best life and not bothers anyone. And I just thought it was so interesting. She just, I don't know, she doesn't understand. She didn't really know why.
Yeah.
Cats.
She's really like cats. She saw cats when she was 16.
It's something about an age thing, too. It's either an age thing or if something is particularly happening to you at a time that it really sucks you in. And I feel like that's like us with Waitress.
Maybe.
We liked Waitress the first time we saw it with Betsy, but I need to stop pointing at people. But I think it wasn't until the right representation happened for the Jenna and when Nicolette came that we
really like
saw it differently.
like
representation does matter, and I think that's when it really started for us. Now, and who else was in this? We'll talk more on I'll repeat, stuff.
Yeah. There was Miss in England.
Oh, who saw Les Mis like 977 times. I wish they talked to her more. I wish they did. I didn't really get a good sense of like. She did say she was the only person who's seen Les Mis like however many times she saw it and has never cried at seeing it. So it makes you wonder why.
Like, why are you still going back?
Why she did? There's something obviously
compelling
her to go, and I just find it so interesting.
She enjoys it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, she likes the show, and
she was trying to get to 1,000. It opens up actually. The documentary opens up actually with her on her way to her 977 performance, and her taxi driver's like, "Excuse me," as she like talks on the phone to somebody, and she's like, "Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since I've seen it, like 2 weeks, something like that. She wasn't feeling well, but hopefully she'll be back on schedule. She's trying to make it to like 1,000." And it's like,
yeah.
She says she spent about like 50,000 pounds. I don't know how much that is in American dollars.
50,000 pounds has to be
on like her like Les Mis experiences, like tickets, like train, bus fare, whatever, lodging if she needs it.
Yeah,
like
it's interesting about her that she's actually spending like money. She's not doing like. Well, not people who get discount tickets aren't spending their money, but unlike the other guy who saw Rent almost 1,200 times, he said most of those are spent on $20 like rush tickets. Whereas this lady
was, you know what? There's a very distinct line between like the male repeat attenders and like the female repeat attenders. Like the male repeat attenders were a tad threatening. Granted, they only spoke to two. No, they showed three, like in like short bursts. Like, so there was like one guy who had more of like a feature, his thing was rent. And like at first it started off like, okay, like, all right, like he really likes rent, blah blah blah, like good for him, I guess. Like, even though his story is a little like his story, he said, I think I wrote it down.
What was the name?
I don't remember. He's seen it like 1,169 times, almost 1,200 times. He said over like 8 years he spent like 30 to 40,000 like on like rent tickets, and it's like, wow. And he talked about the longest he's waited for tickets was about 2 days. He waited in a rush line for Rent, and as I don't know if anyone knows this, I shouldn't say that. If you don't know, Rent, I believe, was the first show to implement a rush policy, which is like same day discounted like tickets. He said he waited, and he had done this so much that he had this like kind of like almost like system of this like sleeping like bag, and he talks about like the women who waited with him, and then he talks about like the sexual encounters that may or may not have happened.
He didn't watch Rent however many times. Like,
yeah, so that happened like on the line as he waited for these like rush tickets. He talked about being like ripe and like needing to be like hosed down by someone at some point. And it's just like, is this a story you want to tell?
And the thing was interesting about him was that he said he started off as like an investment banker at like a Swiss bank. So I'm like, so
he has brains.
Like he has, he has some, some sort of sense somewhere for something, and also money. Like, I guess like investment bankers aren't making like cheap, money. So it just kind of, he had a sense of entitlement.
Yeah, his like
it wasn't like I'm enjoying this so much. Like, I wish I could share like this show with like as many people as possible, like the other people I've seen. His seemed more like it was like a game, like a what do you call it? Like
obsession.
Like he's just kind of like, what do you call it? Like people who like explore stuff and then just like take it,
exploit.
Yeah, like not exploit.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I can't.
You're having a me moment.
Yeah, he just kind of felt like he was just kind of racking up.
Yeah,
like
he ended like his thing with like Rent not because the show ended, but because at one point it was towards the end of the show. I think the end of the run.
Yeah,
and they had these like special like tickets, and he was getting them
special seats. Yeah,
special seats, and he ended up in a part of the theater that he just wasn't like happy with because he hadn't seen it almost 1,200 times before, and he went to complain about it, and it seemed to me like the ushers, like the theater people, like they knew about him, which leads you to believe he was annoying. They were like, this is he was like, I'm not sitting here or something like that. And they were like, yeah, you are. And he's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, he felt entitled.
Yeah.
Because he has seen it so many times that he should get like the better seats.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, dude, like you've seen it so many times. Like,
right.
At this point, does it really matter where you sit? You know where it's at. And they said, this is a simple solution. And they gave him his money. And that was his, like... They said, but he can't come back.
Yeah, but he can't come back. And that was the end of his, like, Rent. And he seemed at peace with it, oddly. He was just like, well, it's not going to compare to, like, the 100 times he's seen it with, like, the original cast. Or, like, the time before opening night that he saw it. Like, and it's like... Okay. Again, this is what you want to share with, like, the greater, like, world? Alright, I guess so. What I also liked about this documentary is like they touched on like stage touring, which it is like a big part of
the Broadway,
like
the theater experience.
Like especially like repeat attendant experience. It kind of the documentary kind of like breaches the subject like when is it just like like you fulfilling your getting fulfillment for like yourself versus like being like an obsession, which is like being like a creep and things like that.
The difference between, you know, a fan and a stalker.
Yeah, like things like that. They talk about like gift giving, which I would say until like this year we didn't have any experience with that. So our godbrother, who was an actor, was in the show of Broadway called Blues for an Alabama Sky, and like I really enjoyed that show. And I would say like I would enjoy the show if he wasn't in it. I think I would, but the fact that he was in the show like kind of made me a little more comfortable to like do things for like the cast that I wouldn't do like if I didn't know anybody like in the cast. So at one point during their run, like Joy and I sent them Schmackeries, which is like, to me, I feel like it's not that creepy because Schmackeries even has a special like program, like not kind of like for that, like specifically to send to shows. But there are people who like bake things for people, and it's like, and make things for people, which I guess it's not the most horrible thing. Like when you watch like the Broadway vlogs and stuff like that, they seem to like appreciate it. I mean, I'm sure they don't appreciate every single thing that, you know, crosses like their path, but like I can see how
art and
some things, you know, would be like
handcrafted stuff seems nice, but the baking is kind of weird to me because then it makes you go, are they trying to poison this person?
Like what's going on?
Like what's happening? But I don't know.
But yeah, and then they spoke to this man. His name what's his name?
I can't remember.
Robert John.
Oh, is he the Robert?
Yeah, I think he's Robert John Faulkner, who was in jail for about a little less than a year.
I kind of wish they didn't show this.
Yeah, I don't. I would say he was to this.
Yeah,
I don't think he added anything to besides being like creepy, and now we know to like stay away from him, or you know if we see him like run away maybe. Like he went to jail for like, was it like stalking, like aggravated, like stalking, not aggravated, but I'm not exactly sure what his charges were, but he went away because he was being inappropriate with what's her name?
Rachel Gibson?
Deborah
Gibson.
From like, what was she, like 80s, 90s, like teen, like Super Bop, like,
yeah,
who was in The Beauty and the Beast at the time. And he already had a past. He was kicked out of college at some point for being inappropriate with like women, and it's like followed him, like his little Deborah Gibson obsession like followed him, like he followed her to like Broadway, and he was out there, like he was there at every performance, and he was out there, and it got to like he was a mess, and it was kind of
like I don't even think he watched the show. But he was sending emails and stuff.
Like, he was saying really things. It was enough to convict him for like, and keep him away for a couple of months. And this was like 17 years after he like was put in jail. Like they had talking to him, and it was like, ugh. He gave me like the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
but yeah,
basically, yeah. I don't think they needed to include.
I don't think so either, because you know he doesn't really represent the repeat attenders that like come to mind when I think of like repeat attenders. So the most that Joy and I have ever seen the show was 10 times. It was Waitress, and I would say the first I think the first 3 times we seen the show, we didn't even, no, 4 times. The first 4 times we seen the show, we didn't even stage door.
I mean,
at Waitress.
Stage door for Nicolette.
Oh, right. Okay, so we saw it with Betsy, and then we saw it with Nicolette. So Betsy, no stage door. Nicolette, yes, stage door. And then we saw Sarah Bareilles, no stage door. And then we saw Shoshana, no stage door. And then Shoshana again, we did stage door.